Communication, the transmission of information, its precise definition is disputed and there are disagreements about whether unintentional or failed transmissions are included and whether communication not only transmits meaning but also creates it. Models of communication are simplified overviews of its main components and their interactions. Many models include the idea that a source uses a coding system to express information in the form of a message. The message is sent through a channel to a receiver who has to decode it to understand it. The main field of inquiry investigating communication is called communication studies. A common way to classify communication is by whether information is exchanged between humans, members of other species, or non-living entities such as computers. For human communication, a central contrast is between verbal and nonverbal communication. Verbal communication involves the exchange of messages in linguistic form, including spoken and written messages as well as sign language. Nonverbal communication happens without the use of a linguistic system, for example, using body language, touch, and facial expressions. Another distinction is between interpersonal communication, which happens between distinct persons, and intrapersonal communication, which is communication with oneself. Communicative competence is the ability to communicate well and applies to the skills of formulating messages and understanding them. Non-human forms of communication include animal and plant communication. Researchers in this field often refine their definition of communicative behavior by including the criteria that observable responses are present and that the participants benefit from the exchange. Animal communication is used in areas like courtship and mating, parent-offspring relations, navigation, and self-defense. Communication through chemicals is particularly important for the relatively immobile plants. For example, maple trees release so-called volatile organic compounds into the air to warn other plants of a herbivore attack. Most communication takes place between members of the same species. The reason is that its purpose is usually some form of cooperation, which is not as common between different species. Interspecies communication happens mainly in cases of symbiotic relationships. For instance, many flowers use symmetrical shapes and distinctive colors to signal to insects where nectar is located. Humans engage in interspecies communication when interacting with pets and working animals. Human communication has a long history and how people exchange information has evolved over time. These changes were usually triggered by the development of new communication technologies. Examples are the invention of writing systems, the development of mass printing, the use of radio and television, and the invention of the Internet. The technological advances also led to new forms of communication, such as the exchange of data between computers. Communication is the lifeblood of human interaction. It is the process through which individuals share information, ideas, emotions, and intentions. From the simplest daily conversations to complex organizational exchanges, communication shapes how people relate to one another, build relationships, solve problems, and achieve goals. In modern society, where globalization and technology have interconnected every aspect of life, effective communication is more critical than ever. Understanding why communication is important requires examining its functions, impact on relationships, role in organizations, and contribution to personal and societal development. Communication can be defined as the process of transmitting information from a sender to a receiver through a medium, ensuring the message is understood as intended. This process includes verbal communication, which can be spoken or written, nonverbal communication expressed through body language, facial expressions, and gestures, and visual communication, such as charts, graphs, and images. Effective communication requires not only clarity of the message but also active listening and feedback mechanisms. The significance of communication lies in its dual function: it conveys information and fosters understanding. Miscommunication, on the other hand, leads to confusion, conflict, and inefficiency. Communication is not merely an exchange of words but a bridge that connects minds and fosters cooperation. Effective communication is foundational to healthy personal relationships. In families, friendships, and romantic partnerships, open dialogue builds trust, resolves conflicts, and strengthens emotional bonds. Transparent communication allows individuals to share their thoughts and feelings honestly, reducing misunderstandings and preventing unnecessary tension. Expressing emotions and concerns respectfully helps prevent resentment and promotes reconciliation, while verbal and nonverbal cues, such as tone of voice, gestures, and eye contact, enhance empathy and understanding. Research in psychology shows that couples who communicate effectively are more likely to maintain long-term relationships and experience higher satisfaction levels. Similarly, friendships thrive when individuals actively listen and respond empathetically, highlighting that communication is central to human connection. In educational settings, communication serves as a conduit for knowledge transfer and cognitive development. Teachers communicate concepts, instructions, and feedback, while students articulate understanding and ask questions. Clear explanations and engaging discussions improve comprehension and retention, while dialogue encourages students to analyze, question, and synthesize information. Group projects and peer interactions rely on shared communication for coordination and problem solving, helping students develop collaboration skills that extend beyond the classroom. Educational communication also involves interactions between teachers and parents, ensuring students' academic and emotional needs are met, which emphasizes that communication fosters holistic development. Within professional environments, communication is integral to productivity, teamwork, and leadership. Organizations operate through structured communication channels, including meetings, emails, reports, and presentations. Clear communication ensures that all team members understand goals, roles, and responsibilities, and it allows leaders to articulate vision, motivate employees, and provide constructive feedback. Transparent communication facilitates timely identification and resolution of issues, while open dialogue fosters trust, engagement, and employee satisfaction. Inadequate communication, in contrast, can lead to errors, inefficiency, and conflicts. Studies indicate that a significant percentage of workplace failures stem from miscommunication, underscoring its critical importance in organizational success. Communication also underpins societal cohesion and development. Mass communication through media, public speeches, and social platforms shapes public opinion, spreads awareness, and promotes social change. Governments and institutions use communication to educate citizens on health, safety, and civic responsibilities. Effective campaigns encourage community engagement and activism, while cultural exchange allows diverse societies to share ideas, traditions, and values, fostering mutual understanding. During crises such as natural disasters or pandemics, clear and accurate communication can save lives by guiding public behavior and preventing misinformation, demonstrating the profound societal impact of effective communication. Despite its importance, communication can be hindered by various barriers. Physical obstacles, such as distance, noise, or technological failures, can disrupt message delivery. Psychological barriers, including stress, emotions, and biases, affect how messages are interpreted. Semantic challenges arise from ambiguous language or jargon, while cultural differences in norms, values, and communication styles can lead to misinterpretation. Overcoming these barriers requires active listening, feedback, empathy, and adapting communication styles to suit the audience, highlighting that communication is a skill that requires conscious effort and refinement. Advancements in technology have revolutionized communication, providing instant global connectivity through digital platforms, social media, video conferencing, and instant messaging. Individuals and businesses can communicate across continents in real time, while online platforms provide vast resources for learning and collaboration. Quick exchanges of ideas accelerate decision-making and problem-solving. However, technology also introduces challenges such as information overload, misinterpretation in written messages, and reduced face-to-face interaction, emphasizing the need for balanced and mindful communication. Leadership is inherently tied to communication, as leaders rely on it to inspire, guide, and influence others. Effective leaders articulate goals and expectations clearly, motivating others to achieve objectives. Open dialogue allows leaders to mediate disputes and foster collaboration, while adaptive communication helps them respond to the diverse needs of team members and changing environments. Leadership failures are often rooted in poor communication, illustrating that the ability to convey ideas clearly is as vital as strategic decision-making. Communication is also central to personal growth. It enhances self-expression, confidence, and social skills. Individuals who communicate effectively are better equipped to build professional and personal networks, negotiate and persuade in different contexts, express emotions constructively, and learn from feedback. Communication is not just a tool for connecting with others but a pathway for self-realization and empowerment. Communication is indispensable in every sphere of human life. From nurturing personal relationships to driving societal progress, it shapes how individuals interact, collaborate, and evolve. Its importance is evident in education, workplaces, leadership, and personal growth, while its absence leads to conflict, misunderstanding, and inefficiency. In a rapidly globalizing and technologically advanced world, mastering communication is not merely desirable but essential for success, harmony, and development. As human beings, the ability to communicate effectively is perhaps our most powerful tool for connection, understanding, and progress. Communication is not only a practical necessity but also a fundamental human skill that defines culture and society. Beyond personal relationships, workplaces, and leadership, communication is deeply intertwined with identity, perception, and the ways in which societies progress. Language, as a primary vehicle of communication, allows humans to encode their experiences, thoughts, and emotions, providing a framework for understanding reality and conveying meaning. Through language, individuals construct narratives, share history, and influence behavior, illustrating that communication is both a personal and collective force. The influence of communication extends to conflict resolution on both personal and societal levels. Misunderstandings, if left unaddressed, can escalate into arguments, strained relationships, or even social unrest. Conversely, when individuals practice effective communication techniques such as active listening, paraphrasing, and empathy, conflicts can be resolved constructively. Negotiation, diplomacy, and mediation are all rooted in communication skills, demonstrating how essential the ability to express ideas clearly and understand others' perspectives is for maintaining harmony. Historical examples underscore this point. Landmark agreements and peace treaties have often succeeded or failed based on the quality of communication between leaders and nations. This demonstrates that communication is not merely about transferring information, it is a tool for collaboration, compromise, and coexistence. The role of communication in shaping culture and societal norms cannot be understated. Stories, art, media, and public discourse are forms of communication that transmit values, beliefs, and traditions from one generation to another. Cultural narratives influence how people perceive themselves and others, creating shared identities and social cohesion. With globalization and digital communication, cultures interact on unprecedented scales, resulting in hybridization and cross-cultural understanding. However, this interaction also creates challenges, such as misinterpretation or cultural insensitivity, highlighting the need for intercultural communication skills. Understanding context, tone, and nonverbal cues is essential for reducing misunderstandings and fostering mutual respect in diverse environments. In professional and organizational contexts, communication is critical not only for operational efficiency but also for innovation and growth. Organizations that prioritize open and transparent communication encourage creativity and problem solving. Employees who feel heard and understood are more likely to contribute ideas and take initiative. For example, companies like Google and Apple have established cultures where collaborative communication fuels innovation, allowing employees to share ideas freely and experiment without fear of failure. In contrast, organizations with hierarchical and restrictive communication channels often struggle with stagnation and inefficiency, emphasizing that communication practices shape organizational culture and performance. The psychological dimension of communication is equally significant. Humans are inherently social beings, and communication is central to mental health and emotional well-being. Expressing thoughts and emotions helps reduce stress, resolve internal conflicts, and strengthen social support networks. Conversely, communication breakdowns can lead to feelings of isolation, frustration, and anxiety. Studies in social psychology reveal that individuals with strong communication skills tend to have better social relationships, higher self-esteem, and improved overall life satisfaction. This connection between communication and mental health illustrates that the importance of communication extends beyond practical outcomes. It is vital for emotional resilience and social adaptation. Technology has transformed communication in ways that were unimaginable just a few decades ago. The rise of social media platforms, video conferencing, instant messaging, and collaborative digital tools has enabled real-time interaction across the globe. While this connectivity has democratized information and fostered global collaboration, it has also created new challenges. Miscommunication can occur due to lack of nonverbal cues in text-based interactions, online anonymity can encourage hostility, and the sheer volume of digital content can overwhelm individuals. Navigating this digital communication landscape requires not only technical proficiency but also digital literacy, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. Individuals must learn to balance virtual and in-person interactions, ensuring that technological convenience does not undermine depth and authenticity in communication. In addition, communication plays a crucial role in shaping leadership effectiveness and social influence. Leaders who communicate with clarity, empathy, and transparency inspire trust and commitment. Political, social, and business leaders alike rely on rhetoric, storytelling, and persuasive communication to mobilize communities, drive change, and foster engagement. The most influential leaders are often those who master the art of connecting with their audience, understanding their needs, and delivering messages that resonate on both intellectual and emotional levels. Communication, in this sense, is inseparable from influence, guidance, and vision. Finally, communication is integral to personal development and lifelong learning. It empowers individuals to articulate their goals, express creativity, and advocate for themselves. Through communication, people exchange knowledge, challenge assumptions, and cultivate critical thinking skills. Engaging in dialogues, debates, and collaborative projects broadens perspectives and encourages adaptive problem solving. Furthermore, effective communication skills enhance employability and career growth, as professionals who can convey ideas, negotiate effectively, and build relationships are consistently in high demand. Communication, therefore, is not a static skill but an evolving competence that shapes personal, professional, and societal success. Effective communication goes beyond simply exchanging information, it involves understanding and managing emotions, both one's own and those of others. Emotional intelligence, which encompasses self-awareness, empathy, and social skills, is essential for meaningful communication. Individuals with high emotional intelligence can perceive subtle cues, regulate their responses, and adapt their communication style to fit different contexts. For instance, in a workplace scenario, a manager who notices signs of stress in an employee can adjust their approach to provide support, guidance, or constructive feedback without escalating tension. In personal relationships, emotional intelligence allows people to respond to conflicts with empathy rather than defensiveness, creating deeper understanding and stronger bonds. These examples demonstrate that effective communication is inseparable from emotional awareness, and the ability to navigate emotions directly impacts interpersonal success. Ethics is another critical dimension of communication. The messages we convey can have profound effects on others, and the ethical considerations involved in communication demand honesty, transparency, and responsibility. In professional contexts, Ethical communication ensures trust between organizations and stakeholders. Misleading advertising, false reporting, or manipulation erodes credibility and can result in significant consequences for both individuals and institutions. Similarly, in journalism, the ethical obligation to report truthfully impacts public perception and social decision-making. Ethical communication is not only a moral imperative but also a practical necessity for sustaining trust, collaboration, and social cohesion. Globalization has brought new challenges and opportunities for communication. Cross-cultural communication requires sensitivity to differences in language, social norms, values, and communication styles. For example, direct communication may be valued in Western cultures, while indirect communication and context sensitivity are emphasized in many Asian societies. Misunderstandings arising from cultural differences can affect international business negotiations, diplomatic relations, and collaborative projects. Successful global communication relies on cultural awareness, adaptability, and respect for diversity. Tools such as multilingual translation, cultural training, and international etiquette programs are increasingly important in navigating these complexities. In a globalized world, effective communication is not merely a local skill but a global competence that enables cooperation and innovation across borders. The evolution of communication technology continues to reshape how humans interact. Artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality are creating new modes of communication that were once science fiction. Businesses now conduct virtual meetings with participants from around the globe, while educators use digital classrooms to teach students thousands of miles away. Social media platforms allow individuals to broadcast ideas, mobilize communities, and participate in global conversations instantaneously. Yet these advancements also pose challenges, including digital fatigue, cybersecurity threats, and the potential for misinformation to spread rapidly. Navigating this landscape requires critical thinking, digital literacy, and ethical judgment, ensuring that communication remains effective, accurate, and responsible. Communication also plays a crucial role in leadership and social influence in modern societies. Leaders must not only deliver information but also inspire action, build consensus, and foster trust. Charismatic leaders throughout history have demonstrated the power of communication to unite people behind a vision, whether in social movements, political revolutions, or corporate transformations. For example, leaders who use storytelling and emotional appeals can create a sense of purpose and motivate collective action. The ability to communicate persuasively while maintaining credibility is essential for sustainable influence, illustrating that communication is both a practical tool and an art form. Finally, communication is a lifelong skill that evolves with experience, education, and reflection. Personal growth is enhanced by practicing communication in diverse contexts, from academic debates to professional negotiations and community engagement. By honing listening skills, expanding vocabulary, refining nonverbal expression, and cultivating empathy, individuals can navigate complex social situations with confidence and effectiveness. Furthermore, communication enables learning, as ideas are shared, challenged, and refined in dynamic interactions. The iterative nature of communication sending, receiving, interpreting, and adjusting ensures continuous personal and collective development. Communication is an essential pillar of human life that influences every aspect of existence. It shapes personal relationships, facilitates education, drives organizational success, fosters cultural exchange, and enables global cooperation. The integration of emotional intelligence, ethical awareness, cultural sensitivity, and technological literacy highlights that communication is a multifaceted skill that demands continuous attention and refinement. In an increasingly interconnected world, mastering communication is not optional but vital for achieving personal fulfillment, professional excellence, and societal harmony. By understanding the profound impact of communication, individuals and communities can harness its power to build understanding, resolve conflicts, promote innovation, and drive progress. Communication, in essence, is not just a tool for exchanging words, It is the foundation of human connection, the driver of collective development, and the key to navigating the challenges and opportunities of the modern world. Communication is the foundation of human existence, influencing every aspect of life from intimate relationships to global interactions. Its importance lies not only in conveying information but also in building understanding, resolving conflicts, fostering innovation, shaping culture, and promoting personal growth. The absence of effective communication can lead to misunderstanding, inefficiency, social tension, and emotional strain, while mastery of communication enhances collaboration, leadership, and societal progress. In a world that is increasingly interconnected and complex, the ability to communicate effectively remains one of the most essential skills for individuals and communities alike. As a tool for connection, understanding, and empowerment, communication continues to define the human experience and drive collective advancement. Thank you for watching this video.